Everyone called him woman beta. But something dark was happening behind closed doors. There was a man in Rosewood Estate who everyone laughed at. They said he was lazy. They said his wife had finished him. They said he had no pride. But every time people mocked him, he lowered his head, like someone hiding a secret. Because this wasn't a story about weakness. It was a story about control. And the truth was far darker than anyone imagined. Every morning, before sunrise, Daniel stepped outside his house with a broom. The same house people said he didn't deserve. He swept the compound slowly, carefully, like a man afraid to make noise. Neighbors watched. Some shook their heads. Some laughed quietly. Some whispered behind closed gates. That's Madame Ngozi's husband. The one she turned into a houseboy. Imagine being a man and living like that. But Daniel never argued. Never defended himself. Never explained. And that was the strange part. Because broken men usually complain. Ngozi Okari was admired. She was wealthy. Well-connected. Always confident. People said she was strong. They praised her independence. They admired her lifestyle. Every morning, she walked out of the house dressed like power itself. Daniel opened the gate. She didn't look at him. When she drove off, the neighbors laughed again. But what nobody noticed was how Daniel's shoulders dropped the moment the car disappeared. Like a man who could finally breathe. People loved to talk. But they never asked real questions. Why did Daniel never leave the house? Why did he stop seeing old friends? Why did his phone never ring? Why did a once respected professional now live like a servant? At night, lights stayed on in their house long after midnight. Sometimes voices were heard. Then silence. And in the morning, Daniel swept again. Years earlier, Daniel wasn't invisible. He was intelligent. Focused. Respected. He helped plan logistics for major companies. He earned well. He was confident. People used to ask him for advice. Then suddenly, everything ended. The story was simple. His company collapsed. That was all anyone knew. But collapses don't usually erase a man so completely. One night, long after Daniel lost his job, a neighbor heard something strange. Not shouting. Not crying. A calm voice. Ngozi's voice. You need to understand something, she said softly. You have nothing now. And I own everything. There was a pause. Then something hit the floor. The next morning, Daniel wore long sleeves. Over time, patterns emerged. Daniel cooked. Cleaned. Washed cars. Served visitors. Ngozi introduced him as my husband. With a smile that never reached her eyes. At home, she had rules. Don't answer calls without permission. Don't question spending. Don't speak in public. Don't forget who feeds you. And always remember, nobody will believe you. Daniel believed her. The laughter grew louder. Men mocked him openly. Women pitied or despised him. That's what happens when a woman feeds you. Money has gender now. Better to be poor than be controlled. Daniel became a lesson. A warning. Nobody knew he was counting days. Power makes people careless. At a charity event, Ngozi drank confidence like wine. She laughed. She boasted. She spoke freely. And then someone said something unexpected. You really destroyed Daniel's career perfectly. Ngozi smiled. Too quickly. He deserved it, she replied. Phones were recording. And in that moment, the mystery cracked. Investigators didn't expect much. But Daniel spoke calmly. He explained how emails were sent from his account, emails only his wife had access to. How threats followed. How money disappeared. How isolation became control. And how silence became survival. For the first time, people saw him clearly. When Ngozi was arrested, she screamed. She accused everyone. She denied everything. But the evidence was quiet and strong. Daniel walked out of Rosewood Estate that day slowly. Not as a servant, but as a man stepping out of a long nightmare. Today, Daniel lives quietly. Healing. Rebuilding. Learning how to speak again. And Rosewood Estate no longer laughs. Because they learned something important. Some men are not weak. They are trapped. And some stories look simple. Until the truth finally speaks. If this story made you think, like, subscribe, and share. Because behind some quiet men are stories no one ever bothered to hear.